Cole, it is Monday night. For those listening, it's Tuesday. Yet again, another episode of Beyond the Screen.
Yet again, we're back and we're blazing, brother.
I mean, hey, we're a month in. We're doing good things. This, like we always say, this is the beginning of something special. I'm ready.
We've covered a lot. We've covered a lot. Let me tell you, man. We've probably mentioned over 100 films.
I would say, yeah, that's probably the number, which is ridiculous in 3 weeks, going on 4. If you like what you're hearing, before we get into the film news in our first segment, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you do, share it. And yeah, Cole, any inspirational words before we get going?
The inspirational words. A wise man once said, "Take it easy, but you still got to take it."
And with that, we move into box office winners, baby. For the second week in a row, The Bad Guys, the animated film that we were shocked won last week, won again in what was a very quiet week for cinema. Over 16 million this week, and that leads all of the domestic box office this weekend. Now, no other movies were really released. The Bad Guys is followed by Sonic 2, which we have some more news about that, but Sonic 2 made over 11 million this weekend. Behind them for the third spot is Fantastic Beasts. They made over 8. The Northman moves up a spot, or well, I guess they retain at 4, making over 6. And shockingly, moving up one spot, Everything Everywhere All at Once by A24 moves into 5, overtaking Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent in the top 5 of a box office winning. And oh, what do you think of Bad Guys winning for the
Well,
second week in a row?
um, I haven't seen any advertising. I guess maybe a couple scattered commercials here and there, but it seems like there is not a lot of hype on social media on film social media about the Bad Guys or just Bad Guys as it is stylized. But it surprises me that Everything Everywhere All at Once, with all the hype that I'm seeing about it. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of discourse about this online, a lot. It seems like this is the movie that everyone is talking about, yet it still stands at number 5 in box office openings. Why is that?
I don't know. It's weird because like you said, it's making a lot of money. It's only made 35 million at the box office in total gross, which is interesting to see something that people are so hype about. Now, I don't know. I could be wrong. Wasn't this movie also released on like Apple or something?
See, that's what I'm looking up right now because I think you can watch it somewhere else. I don't think it's just in theaters.
Which is probably like I think that would be the cause of its fall. Well, I shouldn't even call it fall, but you know what I mean. Like the reason it's not making more because so many people seem to enjoy it.
It's supposed to be the film of a lifetime. Um, an existential psychedelic film. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
I see it on Apple TV as well.
Okay, yeah. So people have other places to watch this besides the cinema.
Right. And I mean,
Um, but
yes. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say just like it's crazy. Like yes, this is a slow week in film, but for it to still be top 5 on the box office earnings with it being on streaming services is ridiculous.
Very slow week. Very slow week.
Yeah.
Um, a uh, a Rotten Tomato critic review of Everything Everywhere says it's a wholly original movie at a time when originality is in short supply. Another one says pure movie magic. I laughed, I wept, I cheered, etc. So 97% tomato meter, 91% audience score. This is a movie to see, guys. I've not watched it personally yet. I don't think Ryan has either, but we will be watching it soon.
I would say we have
Or
to
I
if it's
know.
gotten all those reviews.
Oh yeah, people are loving it. It's supposed to be groundbreaking. So
Yeah. And with that, we will move on from box office winners and we'll move into Sony. We've separated it out a little bit this week and we'll blow by some news that we really don't have to talk about. So we'll start with Sony, move into Marvel, and then DC, and then we'll be done with the big of the comic book movies and we'll move into the rest of Hollywood. So first off, in Sony news, they announced a new El Muerto film. I don't know who El Muerto is. I think he's obviously a comic book character. I think his comic book like his character revolves around being a professional wrestler. He's some sort of anti-hero of some sort, and he's going to be played by Bad Bunny,
Bad Bunny.
the
Interesting
pro
casting
wrestler
choice.
and the rapper Bad Bunny.
I didn't know of Bad Bunny before this. I'm not really like He seems like somebody that maybe the younger members of Gen Z might be a fan of, but he looks like a goof to me. Um, I don't know. Maybe he's an insanely talented and intelligent individual. I don't want to judge him on how he looks, but I'm not sure about Bad Bunny. I've also heard that La Muerta, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, has only been in two comic books. That's his biggest run. He's been in two Spider-Man comic books, and that's the only time that he's appeared in really any sort of publication. So they're really going for the obscure characters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that creates more room for originality, but it's just it. I don't
Sure,
know. I don't know about this one, Sony. A little weird.
a little weird, but I mean, I can see the superhero movies, and a lot of them are loosely based on the comics. Most of them are actually loosely based on comic books, or maybe yeah, they or maybe more than loosely based. But it seems like they're going to start running out of uh, real drive to appeal to the comic book fans as well. So they're going to be just making these movies off of characters alone, rather than try to adapt comic book arcs to screen,
Right.
because the movie audience is far greater of a moneymaker than the comic book audience.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, I completely agree. Other news from Sony. They also announced Venom 3 and a sequel to the most recent Ghostbusters movie, Afterlife, which both of these make me excited. I hope Andy Serkis comes back to direct the next Venom, and I hope that whatever formula they got to make the first Ghostbuster, or well, I guess this whatever version of Ghostbusters we're seeing, hope that they can do that again because Afterlife was fun.
Uh, it's getting to be about like the Fast and Furious, though. How many are they going to make?
I don't know. I wouldn't put it on the Fast and Furious level yet, but I think Afterlife brought, ironically, it brought new life into the franchise. So as long as they're still sticking to the original stories and they're not cash cowing it, I'm okay with this.
Um, it seems a bit like the Jurassic Park franchise, where it's just you think they're done with the reboots and then they come back with another one. But you know what? They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. The Jurassic Park reboots, very good in my opinion, and people are really liking these Ghostbusters movies. So I'm glad to see it. I guess.
Yeah. Other news in Sony, and this is the last bit. Across the Spider-Verse reportedly has 6 dimensions with over 240 characters so far, and they have already come out with the part 2 title, which is going to be called Beyond the Spider-Verse, which we like the word beyond here. So I I I told you last week I'm so excited for this movie, and the more I see from it, the more excited I get, especially coming from Sony, who've proven that they can make a good Spider-Man with the first one. So yeah, I'm hyped.
You know what? Into the Spider Verse was one of the best movies I've ever seen. As anyone with a brain, anyone with a medulla oblongata could tell you that that is a great movie. So I'm excited to see it. Let's see. Let's see where they go with this franchise. It's going to be great places.
And I think that's a perfect endpoint to Sony. Moving on to Marvel now in the MCU, Kevin Feige and the rest of the planning committee up in Marvel HQ go on this little retreat where they reportedly are discussing the next decade of MCU films.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, I I like this. I like it. I don't really know what to think of it. Like, good job. Way to go.
I mean, they've created an empire, truly a film empire, cinema empire. I mean,
Yep.
you. What else can you say about Marvel? I mean, about their grandeur and their place in the world of cinema. I mean, it's unprecedented. It's new. Um, did you see the Multiverse of Madness leaks?
I've seen some of them. One I know for a fact was the Illuminati being confirmed. I don't really. I've avoided the rest of them because I really am excited for this movie. That drops this weekend, by the way.
Oh, can I tell you a character that has been seen now by the audience?
Shoot me, shoot it.
We've got John Krasinski as Reed Richards. Mr. Fantastic.
Wow,
And
wow, that's huge.
boy, does he look great.
I need to go see this because that does have me excited. And speaking of that, because now we can add this in, because this is another big piece of news from the Fantastic Four. Director John Watts walks away from the Fantastic Four project as we continue and bring in the John Krasinski viewing of Reed Richards.
Two things I have to say about that. I've read that really John Watts is just because he put out three really good superhero movies with the Spider-Man films. Like those are his first films, I think. And he might have done something in the meantime, but John Watts really doesn't have a discernible style as a director. And although we all love the new Tom Holland Spider-Man films, I guess we shouldn't say no at this point. The first came out when I was in high school. Yeah. Maybe John Watts is not to a credit for the greatness of these films. Who knows?
Right, and I had read somewhere, once again, I don't remember where, so don't quote me on this if this is incorrect, but I had read that it was creative differences, and like you say, if he's creating movies with Kevin Feige's, like under Kevin Feige's thumb, maybe he felt that he wasn't being enough of his own creative expression, if that makes sense. So
Sure. Yeah.
maybe that's what this is. Maybe this isn't the Fantastic Four. The movie is in deep water and no one really knows what to do with it. Maybe it's just simply this director needs, to walk away and find something of his own path, not underneath Kevin Feige.
Yeah. I mean, he's a director. He wants to be an auteur.
Yeah.
You know, that's any director would want to be that. But obviously, we don't know. We don't know John Watts. Maybe we'll get him on the pod.
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome, John Watts. If you're listening, we would love to talk to you. But anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
Oh,
Other
also, I
news. Oh,
heard.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. No, you're good.
Not moving on.
Staying still.
Yeah. Well, the Fantastic Four film. It's got to be good, right?
We would
Because
hope.
they've never really made they've never made a good one. Seems like they've all been bad. You know who would be a great director?
Who would be a great director for the?
Mr. Fantastic himself, John Krasinski.
That is a great point. I actually love that. I wasn't thinking of John Krasinski. That kind of came out of left field. But the more I think about it, that man is a creative genius.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. Did he write for The Office, or did he just?
I think he wrote a little bit. I mean, obviously, everyone knows his big thing was Quiet Place 1 and 2. But yeah, I think he wrote a little bit.
See, the Quiet Place movies, like, just in the era that they've come out, and like, I don't know, they seem like they would kind of fit into just the gimmicky horror film genre, but they don't. They don't at all because they're masterpieces. They're so good.
Right. As we've discussed before on this show, I mean, they're fantastic.
And there's four of them.
Yeah. Moving on. Moving on now. Other news in Marvel: the dates for the Marvels and Aquaman Quantumania have swapped. So now Quantumania comes out February 17th of next year, and the Marvels comes out in July, specifically on the 28th of 2023. I don't know what else to do with that.
You're talking about
yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp, right?
Yeah, the sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then the Marvels.
Yeah. What are Ant-Man and the Wasp gonna do against Kang? What are they gonna do?
I have no clue. I'm excited to see.
Kang the Conqueror has come to the multiverse, or he's always been. And I think that both Ant-Man and the Wasp are gonna have some pretty formidable friends come along to help them, because you know what, Ant-Man can get big and small, the Wasp can do the same thing, and she can fly around.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop Kang the Conqueror.
No, it's not. And it's going to be, I mean, it'll be a joyride. And, it'll
Sure.
probably end in a not as satisfying. This will be another one of those Marvel films where there's really no victory for either side. It'll just kind of end.
Oh, well, Kang, played by Jonathan Majors, if I am correct, He's gonna be the next Thanos because Jonathan Majors in the last episode of the Loki series, he's a great actor. Jonathan Majors is,
He is.
and the fear that was struck into my heart by Kang's like 30-minute monologue
Yeah.
was it was real stuff, man.
Marvel they do this thing where they find the perfect villain, and Kang is the next guy. And like I've been saying, like I am so ready to see what the rest of Phase 4 and 5 have in store because it's going to be another joyride. I'm so ready.
See, I don't know. I think I'm going to disagree there. I don't think Marvel really puts out good villains. Thanos, King Killmonger. I I don't really know. Baron Zemo is really good. Captain America: Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the villain department has always lacked a little bit in the MCU.
Interesting. See, I liked Baron Zemo. I felt he was like his return in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I enjoyed it. I will agree. Like I liked Killmonger. I felt like he should have had a longer tenure as a villain. That would be my
Oh
only
yeah.
thing about him is that he was so good that he should have been around a little bit longer. But other than that, I get what you're saying because most villains are like that Killmonger to where they're either lackluster or they're too short or both. And yeah, I mean, I think Thanos casts a large shadow over the rest of it, which is why it is what it is today.
I mean, we have Ultron. Don't get me wrong.
I don't.
Mysterio is great.
I
Hela
didn't.
is
I
great.
didn't dislike Ultron. Like I know a lot of people did. I thought he was all right.
Oh, I liked Ultron. I didn't know people don't like Ultron.
Well, yeah, that movie is like ridiculed all the time. Like the Age of Ultron film is
Oh
probably the
yeah.
least liked of any of the original Avengers.
Um, I like it. I love it when they've got what's the city that they're in?
You mean the one
What's
near
it
the
called?
end where they're like flying in the air?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great question. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
That's a fake city. It's just it only exists in the MCU.
Right? Yeah, it's not real. Sokovia,
Sokovia.
the
Yeah.
Sokovia
The
Accords.
Sokovia Accords.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I love the final battle in Sokovia. Um, I love the film. It's funny. It's great. I mean, I see why people don't like it. Because it's very comic booky,
hmm
and but but I digress.
yeah. No, I feel you. And I think that's a perfect point to move on to DC, and then we'll be done with comic book superhero stuff, and we'll be on to the rest of what's gone on in Hollywood this past week. In DC, we got two things from the new Flash movie that's come out, both released at CinemaCon. Number one being that Michael Shannon to return as General Zod in this new Flash movie, which I don't know how that's going to work, but it's going to apparently. And Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, that we have known long standing he's going to be in this movie, is revealed to be more, quote, hermit-esque. So, I don't know what to take about that one either, but, like, I'm ready to see this movie.
I didn't know they were putting Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne back in the movies.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Keaton
Oh
returns as
wow,
the Caped Crusader.
interesting. I mean, I'll see it. Sure, I'll watch that in the theater. I love Michael Keaton, man. Michael Keaton's one of my favorite actors of all time, and I will die on the hill.
Yeah,
I
no,
love Keaton.
Michael Keaton. He's one of those guys that's fun to watch. I wouldn't call like I know I've said rubber face a lot the last few weeks, but I don't think he's got quite rubber face, but he's very good when he gets the role. I'll say that he's kind of like that Robert Downey Jr. where he play like every character is kind of just him, but he is very fun to watch.
Sure. Well, you might be forgetting Michael Keaton's best role, perhaps
Which one?
Beetlejuice.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll give you Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice was definitely out of his normal film that he usually stars in. But yes, I will give you Beetlejuice.
Um, yeah, that seems to be like his only big role that I see where he really took on a character like that.
Yeah.
It just really did like a weird thing with a character, but it worked. It worked phenomenally, and it doesn't seem like he ever did it again. He's just same old bald headed Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I know, and it's a shame almost because like if he can do that with Beetlejuice, why didn't he take more roles like that? Because we could be seeing him in such a different light if he was that consistently.
Right. Right. Uh, who knows? We maybe we could ask him in person one day.
That's another one, Michael
If
Keaton.
any of our listeners know why Michael Keaton made Beetlejuice as this weird and wacky character, and then he never really like donned like makeup and did a strange character like that, tell us.
Yes.
Drop a comment.
So speaking of Batman, I'm gonna call us back a little bit. The Batman gets its confirmed sequel with director Matt Reeves, Pattinson himself, and Zoe Kravitz all returning to star. I'm very excited for this. Like we've talked, I think once a week since we started, we've talked about how good the Batman is. This is going like this sequel. I will have marked on my calendar the second they release a day, which will probably end up being delayed anyway. I'm gonna have it marked somewhere, regardless of impending delay.
Oh well, we're gonna have I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's a very popular actor, Barry Keoghan
I think it's
or Barry
Kogan.
Keegan,
Keegan.
Barry Kogan, something like that. Well, he's gonna be the Joker, and you know I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was time for a new Joker, right? I really didn't think it was time for a new Joker. We had so many daggone Jokers in the past few years, but his Joker looks phenomenal. It's terrifying, and I think he'll play a great one because he makes a great villain. Barry Keegan does.
He does, and as you just said, his look is just grotesque, and it's a new take on the character that I didn't think as you said again, like I'll agree with you. I didn't think we needed yet, but we have it, and I'm excited. Other villains that I'd love to see, I want to see like the Court of Owls, or Hush. One of those two.
Okay. I'm gonna say I want like a Mr. Freeze Poison Ivy movie. You know,
Right. But not the George Clooney, the Batman and Robin, but with Tim Burton. Like not that style. Like you want like
maybe that style. I like that
no,
style.
no. That was
Yeah.
worst.
Oh yeah.
Okay. With that note, we are finally off of superhero movies, and I'm excited because we've got some pretty fun stuff here. So first off, I didn't hear about this movie until this week, but there's this new film called Gray Man. And I'm trying to find who is producing it because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's produced by the Russo brothers. And it stars, find it here real quick. Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, uh, Danush Raja. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name, and Regé-Jean Page, who was in Bridgerton. And they released stills recently, and it looks fantastic. It looks like it's just going to be one of those thrill rides that just is so much fun. It's also directed by the Russo brothers, by the way. And yeah, I'm very about this.
I'm always down for a nice action thriller.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they have sort of like the psychological drama elements to them, and we're going to be covering those all month. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that here at the end here. Moving along, Illumination has postponed/delayed their Super Mario Brothers adaptation starring Chris Pratt to April 7th, 2023. I don't think there's much we can say about that one because I don't know anyone that's excited for the Super Mario Brothers film. After that, Fast X loses his longtime director Justin Lin. I was reading somewhere that it cost millions and millions of dollars to keep that production going without a director, and they just today found Justin Lin's replacement in Louis Leterrier, who did the Transporter, Now You See Me, and The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. What do you think about this replacement of director for Fast X?
I really don't have much to say about the Fast movies. It people would still watch it if they had my Uncle Jim as the director. You know what I mean?
Right.
They could pick up some guy off the street and be like, "Hey, do you want to direct a Fast and Furious movie?" He'd say, "Okay." They get him in there, and people would still. I mean, it would sell. I mean, it would make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So, in terms of making money, it won't be a problem. Quality, who knows? Shot in the dark.
No, I agree. I mean, we've said before, and this will be the last thing we say about it before we move on, because we've said this multiple weeks in a row. The Fast and the Furious franchise needs to die. It just needs to stop being a thing. It's gone on long enough. I don't know what else you can get out of driving cars fast. They've been to space
And
and
furiously.
very furious. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. And with that, we move on to other news. Olivia Wilde's got a new film called Don't Worry, Darling, released stills and a trailer this week, and it stars Florence Pugh and Harry Styles. This movie comes out September 23rd of this year. I don't know. I mean, it looks like a fun movie. It looks like it'll be a good watch. I don't really know much of Miss Wilde's filmography, but I mean, people seem to be excited for this one.
I like Florence a lot. Florence is great. She
Florence
plays
Pugh is awesome.
Yelena Belova. She's been in other great movies. Midsommar, standing as probably her best performance that I've seen or heard of. It's got Chris Pine in it. It's got how many movies has Styles been in?
You know, he's been bouncing around a lot of projects lately. Like he's been in a few movies. He was most
Oh
recently
yeah,
in
he was in Dunkirk.
yeah, he's most recently in what movie? The Eternals. He was
The Eternals, yeah.
I can't think of what the character's name was, but yes, he was in The Eternals. He was, as you said, Dunkirk. Um yeah, I mean, don't worry, Darling comes out this year. He'll be in that one, and I just think as he continues, he'll be in more and more movies because he's a good actor.
Oh, he's an entertainer.
Living his best life, and
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and his music isn't for me, but he's got some great songs. So I think I'm on Harry Styles' side. I think he's the hype is warranted in
right,
most ways.
like I want to see this man succeed. Like he just looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys are excited for that one, Don't Worry, Darling comes out September 23rd of this year. Here we go. I saw the trailer for this earlier this week, and it made me laugh. And now it's in our news feeds here. Disney released a trailer for John Mulaney and Andy Samberg led Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. See,
Chippendale
it looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I am all in. Like I'm here. Like you
looks
got me.
wonderful. Yeah,
It just
it's half live action,
oh
half animated.
like I
Looks great.
I absolutely adore Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I enjoy John Mulaney is hilarious. Andy Samberg is Andy Samberg. We don't even have to go into his background and the comedy that he can do. But yeah, this movie it just seems fun. Seth Rogen's in it, and his character, whoever he plays, meets his other character Pumbaa, and they yell at each other in Seth Rogen ways. Yeah, it just looks like it'll be fun.
Listen, man, John Mulaney. I think he has 4 specials, right? He
Mhm.
has, if I can remember, New in Town, the top part,
Mhm.
live at Radio City, the Comeback Kid, right? These are comedy specials. He also has Oh Hello, which is a Broadway show with him and Nick Kroll, right?
Mhm.
I've seen all of those productions more times than I could probably count on one hand. Like, man, when I tell you that I'm a John Mulaney fan,
You mean
he's
it.
one of my favorite comedians. I mean it. Yeah, I love John Mulaney. I fantasize about seeing him in a restaurant and like buying him an appetizer.
Yeah, that's true fandom right there. An appetizer.
Oh yeah. Oh, he can get anything he wants. Mozzarella sticks. He can get 25 of them. I don't care.
I love John Mulaney. His comedy is he's hilarious. But yeah, like he's just the way that I know he was a very minor character, but Into the Spider Verse, we talked about it earlier. He was what was it, Peter Porker, or he was like the Spider Ham,
Yeah,
and
yeah. He was the pig.
he had great presence. He was probably one of my favorite parts of that movie, just because his comedy was so funny. And so yeah, him behind the mic again as a voice actor makes me very excited. He's so much fun just to listen to, and his voice is so recognizable.
Oh, John Mulaney is I mean, he's a big part of the stand up comedy world, and I'm glad that he's a big part of the voice acting world too. There's never going to be enough John Mulaney for me. Never going to be enough. So, man, if you look at all the all the animated films that John Mulaney has voiced. Like he's made a lot of movies, man,
Mm-hmm. Very well known.
already, and his career has a long way to go. Of course, he just had a child with Olivia Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Big divorce, rehab. He's hanging out with Pete Davidson, that scoundrel. But that's old news though.
No, it is. I think the best way to wrap it up about John Mulaney is just we're just happy to see him get over some of the he fought off some demons and now he's back and he's doing things that we can all just be proud of.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So here's some pretty big news. The sequel, the Avatar, has finally gotten a name, and it's titled The Way of Water. It sounds more like the animated cartoon. And James Cameron promises, quote, the most immersive 3D available.
Man, seems like the world has just gone topsy turvy on us.
Yeah?
The world has gone topsy turvy on us. Let me tell you what. Ryan. Go.
Let me hear
When I was a child, there was a film that was slated to come out called Avatar. And everyone was like, yeah, this is going to be the movie. Like, this is the movie. It's in IMAX. It's in 3D. This is like unlike anything you've ever seen, right? So I go and watch it, and I was blown away. Go to school, talk about it. Elementary school, everyone's blown away. Everyone I've ever talked to loves Avatar, right? And then something happened. Something happened, maybe 2016 and 2020. Those terrible years all just kind of changed us, And people don't like Avatar anymore. People are like, yeah, it's mid. It's mid. I've seen that in comments on the news of the new film coming out. Yeah, Avatar's mid. We don't even want to watch this movie. What are people thinking? It's Avatar. It's the greatest movie ever. It's so good.
So it beats
It's
Paddington
beautiful.
2. Does it beat Paddington 2?
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Dude, Paddington, I'd throw Paddington, that bear, right out the damn window if it meant that, I get to save Avatar. Come on.
Yeah,
I don't know what's got into people. So I'm excited for the sequel. They've been working on it for about 15 years now.
that and the next 4 that are slated to come out right after that. This is going to be a whole franchise that took 15, 20 years to make.
Well, here's the thing. They announced the sequel to Avatar when I was a child.
Yeah.
I was a young child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, man, I was probably 5'2" when they announced it.
Right.
So I'm excited for it. It's one that I've been waiting on my whole life. And you know what? I'm going to make a prediction. It's not going to do that great in the box office.
Probably not. I mean, I would say it'll probably do a little better than what you're anticipating, just because of this reason. So I'm excited for it, not because like Avatar changed my perspective on film, like as a child. Like this wasn't the movie that got me into to cinema. It was more of like it brings me so much nostalgia because I did watch it a lot as a kid. So like it's like when The Incredibles came out with a sequel. Like I was like, yes, I'm going to see the second Incredibles because I remember it so well from my childhood. The same thing for Avatar too, and I think there's going to be a lot of people like that.
Well, we shall see when the time comes. When is it slated to release?
I actually do not remember. I'm looking. There is other news before it's released, though. The original Avatar is being remastered for theaters ahead of the second. I'll actually look it up real quick because it's important to know. I didn't see the date. It is December 16th.
Okay. Well, not that long.
No, we have the next 2 halves of the year to go, which isn't that long when you think about it. But yeah, I think it'll be pretty good. James Cameron is James Cameron. I actually have a take on him that we'll get into later. But yeah, well, before we move on to our next segment, we have a few more things to go over. Tobey Maguire will be playing Charlie Chaplin in the Babylon movie, which is directed by Damien Chazelle, I think is how you pronounce his name. I didn't know there was going to be a movie titled Babylon that needed Charlie Chaplin, but Tobey Maguire's Charlie Chaplin, and yeah, good for Toby.
Good for Toby.
Good for Toby. Adam Sandler in his next movie will be reuniting with the Safdie brothers, who did Uncut Gems for his next movie. Uncut Gems was, I think, Adam Sandler's best film. You can, like, I know people will have They will have their like takes on like him and Waterboy and all that. But no, no, no. Adam Sandler's best film as an actor was Uncut Gems. And so to see these two teams come back together for another movie, I won't say excited, but I am interested to see what else they can come out with because Uncut Gems was great.
I'm always gonna have a place in the Sandler camp, man.
Oh yeah,
I've got his side. I grew up with Sandler. Had Click on DVD.
Click was great.
Oh yeah, people hate it.
I know,
I
and they
love it.
shouldn't because
I love it.
teaches such a good lesson.
Right? Yeah, it's a heartwarming film at the end. I mean, it's a fable.
It really is.
Don't trade the time that you have with your family for work.
Right.
Straightforward.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Adam Sandler's next movie with the Safdie brothers. In other news, Sonic 2 becomes the highest grossing video game movie ever, beating the first Sonic movie. So, yeah,
Wow.
we are going to see a Sonic 3 and probably a Sonic 4. And take that as you will. This is just the week of news where I'm just kind of like meh. Like there's some exciting things in here, but I don't really like Sonic 1 was good. I haven't seen Sonic 2, and I'm sure it's great, but like I'm never going to get excited for a Sonic movie.
Have you ever seen or have you ever heard the song "Through the Fire and Flames" by
Who?
Dragon Force?
No, I have not.
Uh, if if you ever played Guitar Hero 2 or Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock,
Uh-huh.
it's like the big song, like the big final boss song. And a lot of people grew up with that game. And Through the Fire and Flames is it's a very recognizable song because of that. And we were sitting on my porch. It's a very fast, like metal the song, right? And we were sitting on the porch the other night and we were listening to that song and I asked my girlfriend, I said, what do you think about this song? She'd never heard it. And she said, yeah, it reminds me of Sonic. And it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
You'd probably think that was a lot funnier if
Oh
you'd heard the
right, yeah. I
song,
mean,
but
it sounds goofy.
yeah, it is. It's very goofy and fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have that much to say about Sonic other than gotta go fast, man. Gotta go fast. And that's what they're doing with these movies. So
Yeah.
good for them.
Great for them. Yeah. So yeah, we'll expect Sonic 3 to be announced and maybe even Sonic 4. Um, the last two things we
Do you
have.
know anything about Chris Chan? You know anything about Chris Chan?
Chris Chan. I've heard that name. That man did something very
Oh,
bad, did he not?
wow. I don't really know. He's just like this really weird guy named Christian Weston Chandler, who's like he's an internet celebrity. He created this thing called Sonichu, which
Okay.
is a mixture of Sonic and Pikachu.
Uh-huh.
And like he makes all these really weird comics and he says all these creepy things. I don't know. I need to look more into it. But I oh my gosh, if you just look up Chris Chan, you'll know exactly what I'm
I
talking about,
really,
like what kind of guy this
I don't
is.
think I want to. Um,
Don't. Yeah, he's or it seems like now Chris Chan has uh has revealed that she is transgender. So
oh,
Christine Weston Chandler. But
wow, wow.
well, maybe this is not an internet history podcast. This is
Hmm.
not a fringe internet podcast. So we will leave Chris Chan in the past.
Right, and it's relevant because of Sonic, we promise. Uh,
Yep.
um, Other news, the next James Bond reportedly has come down to 3 names. These are the targets. These aren't. I'm not saying that these are people in contact or anything. These are just who MGM/Amazon are targeting for the next James Bond, and they are Tom Hardy, Henry Cavill, and Jacob Elordi.
Yeah, that's the dude from Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, why? I didn't even know he was British. First off, he might not be.
Um,
Um,
he is. I don't see where he is. He's Australian.
yeah, no. Listen, that is not going to happen in my book.
I
They can't do
really.
that.
He's been in. He's been in very little things. He's been in The Kissing Booth, Euphoria, Two Hearts, and Deep Water. Apparently, I didn't know he was in Deep Water. That's the.
Ooh, Two Hearts is one of my favorite movies of all time.
He's in Two Hearts.
I've never seen it actually. I'm lying. Probably will never watch that. Don't know what that is.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I need to check out Euphoria. I will never see The Kissing Booth or Two Hearts. Deep Water, I've heard is all right. But yeah, those are the names.
Euphoria. Don't waste your time with it, man. It's
Really,
all right. It's all right, I guess. I don't know.
I know it's got a lot of themes of like sexuality and such.
Oh yeah, drugs, violence, and yeah, it's like Riverdale, man. It's very mature, and it's a bunch of people that don't look like high schoolers,
Yeah,
pretending to be high schoolers but not acting like high schoolers.
I feel you. Well,
Maybe if it was set in college, like that's kind of like what college is like,
yeah.
is what you see in Euphoria, but not high school, man. I don't know what I was doing in high school, but like they're doing like heroin in
Oh,
math
nice.
class,
Yeah, that's what
bro.
I was doing
Yeah,
before third period in high school.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I'd just take a little snort of a little fentanyl in the morning,
Yeah, 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 yeah. But on that
get me
note,
going.
I really hope Tom Hardy or Henry Cavill get it. Those are two names we've heard a lot. But yeah, I would love to see either one of those be James Bond. I want to see. I retract. The guy I've wanted to see is Idris Elba. That man would be a perfect James Bond.
Yeah, I was always into Idris as James Bond. Henry Cavill probably second. I don't think Tom Hardy is the face, although Tom Hardy is he's great. He's awesome.
Oh, I love Tom Hardy. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Henry Cavill was turned down because he tried out for James Bond when Craig got it, and they told him he was too fat.
Oh, what did he look like back in the
I
day?
don't know, but
Henry
apparently they
Cavill.
were like, you're not in shape enough, and then this man literally became Superman.
Yeah. Well, that's his villain origin story, and he became a hero because of it. So couldn't be Bond, had to be Superman.
Yeah, and you know what? That doesn't matter. And then, at the end of the day, this man's successful. His The Witcher is amazing. He is
Oh yeah.
perfect for that role. But our last thing of film news before we move on to the next segment, which I think you guys will really like, a product of our friend Cole here. But the last thing of news, the Hunger Games prequel film, The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes, will be releasing November the 17th.
See, I really like that actually because like going into the Hunger Games, it's set up that they're in like what the 76th Hunger Games or
Yeah,
whatever, like the
like they're
first one, right?
yeah, they're like deep into the Hunger.
Deep into the Hunger Games. So like they have so much to work with, so much history that they could uncover.
Yes.
And like they could create a massive like a world of this, a huge universe
Like
of victors
if
and
you thought we already had a franchise of Hunger Games, this could be the beginning of something even more. Like this is going to be huge,
much larger, yeah.
especially if they start.
And I like the Hunger Games.
Oh, I love it. They like growing up like that. That was it for a while. Like it was like Harry Potter, and then Harry Potter was usurped by Hunger Games, and then there's really not been like what's been a movie series that's kind of like Harry Potter and the Hunger Games that's been like the last 5 years. Because I can't think of one other than the MCU.
Seems like the Maze Runner kind of
Maybe, but that
did
was
it for a
closer.
while.
Wasn't that the closer to the same time as the release of the Hunger Games though? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Divergent was big.
yeah, but like that style of movie has died. Like we've not seen one like that in a long time.
Like the young adult fiction films.
Yeah, like those were so good. Like it didn't matter. Like they were young adult fiction films, but like
And yeah, we had
everyone loved
Percy
them.
Jackson. The Giver was big. I love The Giver.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Was The
hopefully,
Giver a movie? Oh yeah, The
yeah, I
Giver
better
was a
say I
movie.
think it was.
Yeah, had Jeff Bridges as the Giver.
Really?
Had the dude as the Giver. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think this is a perfect note to end on. I really hope this kickstarts that genre of movie again cuz like it not only would it create nostalgia, but that was just genuinely a good like series, just like a film subgenre that was just fun to watch.
Oh, and the two main characters are from Kentucky,
Right,
Jennifer
yeah.
Lawrence and Josh Hutcher.
Yeah.
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah, from Homegrown. So yeah, no, you love to see it. I really hope that this does spawn something. And with that, we'll be moving on to our second segment.
So, guys, previously we had just had our film news sort of segment, and then we hopped right into whatever films we were discussing through the week. But we decided that we were going to add a new segment to the podcast, which is very exciting. So we're going to have just a quick round of Ryan and I going back and forth and listing a film opinion that we have. It could be anything. Doesn't have to be about film, although it should because this is a film podcast. But we're just gonna go back and forth, and the other will comment on what we have to say. So we both have 5 opinions that we've compiled through the week, and we're excited to give them to you.
Yeah. So with that, would you want to give the first opinion, and then I will?
No, you go ahead because my first opinion is a little bit out there.
Okay. I mean, well, mine is I feel like some of these are gonna get some heat. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So my first 2 are pretty heated. So but my first, I think Steven Spielberg is the best creative mind / director of all time.
Okay.
I think in terms of, for me, when I think of best director, producer, whatever, creator, I think of people that have to jump around from genre to genre, who can make worlds regardless of the story and of the genre that they're telling. And Spielberg, while he has made a living off of fantasy, this man has done horror, and he's done like more realistic type stuff, and he's done well in all of it.
I couldn't think of a more valid opinion, honestly. Spielberg is up there for directors in my book. I mean, he's made some great movies. Everyone knows that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Best film of Steven Spielberg's. I've got a poster in my living room of it. Jaws, 1975.
Oh yeah. You got to start with one of the originals. Jaws was fantastic.
I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, Back to the Future, Ready Player One, E.T., Jurassic Park, Schindler's List.
The list just goes on. Like,
Oh
he's
my god,
so
yeah,
good.
he's
Yeah.
made some great ones. Yeah, and he Steven Spielberg with Jaws. I mean, this was a historic film. Like, this isn't just a good movie. This brought back the blockbuster. Not brought it back, but invented the blockbuster. Almost.
It really did. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the first blockbuster was Jaws.
Facts.
So
No,
Spielberg, Spielberg's really left his mark on the history of cinema, and it will be long withstanding.
Yeah. All right. Now hit us with your first.
It's not a film take. It's a TV show take. Okay?
All right, that's fine.
And this one, I mean, people like, I'm really going against the boys here by saying this, but it's worth saying. Okay.
Okay.
The Kardashians.
Oh God. Oh God. Here we go.
The Kardashians. Okay. I went my whole life hating the Kardashians because I didn't know the Kardashians. Right.
Right.
Just because I'm a guy, I had to hate the Kardashians. Right. It's like, as a guy, you have to sign up for the selective service. I guess you have to do it as a woman too. But you got to do that. You got to hate the Kardashians, man.
Right.
Listen, I watched a couple episodes with my girlfriend on Hulu of the new Kardashian show. It's not called Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's simply called The Kardashians. And you know what? There are some very likable people. They really are. And I understand why millions of women and men across the world are absolutely obsessed with them, because they have some electric personalities. They might not be the smartest bulbs on the tree, but Kim Kardashian, I don't know. Kim Kardashian seems like she is a really good person, and she really has her stuff together. And I actually really enjoyed watching it. I hate to say it, shoot me right now, but I liked it.
Hey, that's fair. I'll leave the judgment for the people listening. Because like, I've never seen it, and I won't judge it too hard. As you said, growing up, it was just, I was taught to hate it, and so I didn't give it a shot, and I won't judge it.
Not that bad. Kim Kardashian is the one that blew me away. The rest of them are kind of meh, but Kim's got a lot to say, and I really like her.
Yeah,
I really like her. Sorry, it wasn't a film opinion though, but
no, that's completely fine. So my second one, it's I feel like I'm alone on this one, and I don't really know how else to go about this other than saying it. The first 2 or 3 of this movie franchise, I feel like, paved the way for present day MCU. I'll say, yeah, I'll give the first three because they came out. The first one came out before, and the second one came out as the MCU started. The Transformer franchise. I grew up loving them, and I feel like the style that the Transformers play, as in like the super team that's defending against an unbeatable opponent, quote unquote. Um, I feel like that started with Michael Bay's series, and while the everything past the third one, you can even say past the second one, and I wouldn't be mad, are utter trash. Um, I think the first two or three are pretty good, and I grew up watching them. I love them, and I can go back and watch the first two or three and still get laughs and still enjoy myself.
Man, what about Megan Fox?
Megan Fox in
Those
the
first Transformer
first two.
films. Yeah. I don't really know a good way to put my opinion of her. So you know what? I'm just gonna abstain. You guys probably know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I
Because
know how you feel about the Transformers franchise, which is why I just had to I had to have it in here and I had to say it because I grew up loving them, and there is a new one coming at some point. I don't know how to feel about it, but I'm going to watch it because it's a big part of my childhood. Yeah, can you give us your second take now?
okay. And this is a pretty widely held film opinion, I guess. I don't know if people feel this way or not, but and we might have talked about it on the pod, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna say that American Psycho is the most misunderstood film of all time
Hmm, interesting. People
because
love it.
well, a bunch of dudes love it, right? They relate to Christian Bale's character
Right.
in the film,
Patrick Bateman.
and they should Patrick Bateman, yeah, and they should not because this is a satire. It is a satire in every sense. It was directed by a woman, and it is a character study number one of Patrick Bateman, but also a study of men.
Right.
And it's not supposed to glorify violence, and it's not supposed to glorify this sort of like Sigma male grind set that people like seem to resonate with when they see the film. Like that's not what the movie's about. Seems like every dude that watches American Psycho somehow doesn't realize that this movie is about them and it's about their tendencies. Yeah. They're like, oh, I like American Psycho. It's like, why do you like it? Do you like it because it's, it's a deep, deep study? Or do you like it because a guy that you like kills a bunch of women?
Right. Which, yeah, I think that says enough. Yeah, I think that's a great take, man. That's phenomenal. I didn't really
Right.
like I can see what you're saying. I haven't seen American Psycho in a while, so I need to go back and rewatch it because with that in mind, I would love to get that new perspective.
Yeah, it's almost a what's a good way to say it? Patrick Bateman is a woman's idea, a woman's caricature of a dangerous man.
Right. I feel like Patrick Bateman would today have like a neck beard and be overweight in like a computer chair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's living with his mom, but he hates his mom.
Yeah,
You know,
like living in like watching this really weird like Discord chat, like calling his girlfriend Kitten and
yeah.
whatnot.
He like bought a maid outfit for his girlfriend, but he realized that he liked to wear it more than she did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyone out there, this might not relate as much, but if you were mean to your mom, do not listen to this podcast. We don't want you as viewers. We don't want you. Be nice to your mother. She loves you.
Factuals. Factual. And with that, I think it's a great time to move on to our third takes here. This is another one that I feel like my whatever credence I had as a film guy or for whoever's listening, this one might, depending on who you are, turn you off of me forever. And I apologize, but you're just gonna have to live with it because I'm going to say it. I enjoyed The Hobbit better than I did the first Lord of the Rings. I did.
Really?
I did.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Man, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I
What are you
loved
trying to say right now?
I love the Lord of the Rings. Like the Lord of the Rings is obviously better. I'm not trying to say that the Hobbit is better. Like that's the thing. Is that I don't want to come across as like I'm that guy that's like the Hobbit's obviously better because it's not. As movies as narratively, the Lord of the Rings the initial trilogy is better. But there's just something about the Hobbit that I enjoyed, and I like not. I
You
wouldn't.
enjoy it.
Like yeah, like I'm not gonna say like once again. I want to preface. I am not saying The Hobbit's better than Lord of the Rings. I understand a lot of people dislike The Hobbit. I liked them, and I felt like I had more fun watching those than I did Lord of the Rings, just because Lord of the Ring, if you hadn't read the book like I hadn't, you get dropped right in the middle of a story, and at first, especially when you watch it when you're a little younger, you feel lost for a little while. And
Mm-hmm.
and so like I don't know, it's just like it's having watched both, and yeah, I when I watched The Hobbit, I enjoyed it better, and that's my take.
I've not seen the third Hobbit. I've seen the first two, but not seen
It's
the third. I really like the first two,
it's the third one. Well,
man.
it's the beginning is kind of a letdown, but I feel like it's still a good movie. It still holds its own.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Um, I'll get around to watching that third one, man,
Yes.
for sure. So for my third opinion, this one is a little bit, different than what you're used to.
Okay.
Of all the cities that a movie can be filmed in or be set in, I should say, whether it be New York, Los Angeles, somewhere in between. The best films are set in a particular city, and that city is none other than Boston, Massachusetts.
Huh.
I've never been to Boston. I don't know anyone from Boston. I've never spoken to a person with a Boston accent in my life. But they've got some great movies coming out of Boston. And I'm looking at you, Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point, man. Like
Boston set movies.
I've really never thought about it like that. Yeah,
well, recently I've seen Black Mass and The Town, right? Seen the Departed pretty recently. Good Will Hunting, Mystic River. A lot of great Boston films.
No, yeah. No, I mean, you're leaving out Ted.
Ted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one's set in Boston too.
I like Ted. I'm looking on here now, looking at Boston set films. Not a lot of movies set in Boston. Thought there were way more Boston movies.
Hey man, the Boondock Saints are in Boston.
Never seen the Boondock Saints.
A really good movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Ha! It's got 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. But
I
I've heard of it my whole life.
I mean, Shutter Island is also Shutter Island's based in Boston.
Well, it's also set on Shutter Island. Oh, that was kind of mean. I'm sorry. I was just kind of being a
no, you're good.
Chotch there.
You're good.
Yeah. Also, there's one more film set in Boston that I will not mention because it is my fourth film opinion.
Okay, all right. And with that, I guess I'll move into my fourth. This one hits home because I've had this opinion for a long time and I've screamed it so often, but here it is on the pod for people to remember and never let me forget. Producers, production companies, like i.e. like Sony, Marvel, like the BBC, whatnot. When you hire a creator, whether it be a writer, a producer, a director, I'll even throw in director of photography. Leave them alone after that. Let them create.
So let them make the movie.
Let them do what
give
they
them
did.
some money.
Let them,
yeah.
Let them do what you hired them to do. You interviewed them. You went through the whole process to give them a paycheck to do the one thing that you're getting in the way of. And my number one example, my prime example, Spider-Man 3 in 2007. My man, Sam Raimi, did not want Venom in that movie. He just didn't.
He doesn't have a place in the movie.
No, exactly. Like if you feel that Venom was random in that movie, that's because he was. He was added in late because Sony pressured my man to put it in.
Yeah. Why was Venom in that movie?
Because Sony said we need more. Because Venom even back then was probably the most recognizable Spider-Man villain, right?
Oh yeah,
And he
of
was
course.
very popular even then.
And
So
they had
they,
already been through Doc Ock and the Goblin, so they
yeah,
had to have somebody else.
yeah. So and I think I don't remember who exactly. I think Sam Raimi just wanted Sandman to be the main villain with Harry Osborn as Green Goblin as kind of like a B plot, like the secondary villain. But like he would have had a lot lesser role. But yeah, then they're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna make you add in Venom, and apparently he resisted them for so long until finally he said whatever because they were so annoying.
I'm like, all right, we can add Venom in the movie. Um, yeah, they didn't do Venom very well at all. In the film.
Yeah,
Um, but as a kid, that movie scared me. I was really scared of Sandman when I was a child.
it was freaky.
Yeah. I actually heard a piece of news the other, not news, but like a fun fact the other day. I didn't really know if I believed it or not. Or maybe I misunderstood it, but it said that they for Spider-Man No Way Home, they didn't film anything with the actor for the Sandman and the actor for the Lizard.
Yeah,
Like they weren't on set.
yeah, I think that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, like that blew my mind that they just kind of like CGI'd them in with old footage and stuff.
yeah. Didn't they get them to
Just
like voice act for it later, especially the Sandman guy?
yeah, something like that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's just crazy. That Also, I keep talking about when I was a kid. This episode, very contemplative episode for me.
yeah.
But actually, I didn't understand cinema and film when I was a young child. And for some reason, this is real weird. I thought that every movie was CGI, and that they
Really?
just like yeah, they just like took pictures of the actors and like scanned them, and then just everything else was CGI. Everything
Wow.
was CGI. Like when I was a young child, I don't know. Maybe I was. I guess I was dumb, or like I didn't
Ahead of your
really
time,
realize.
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ahead of my time.
yeah.
But I just thought that like, and I can remember like I was probably like 7 or 8 before I was like, oh, like that's not how it is. Like these are just all actors.
Right. No, man, it's crazy because like I don't know, I feel like I've wanted to be a writer for as long as I can remember, like a screenwriter.
Right.
So like as a kid, like I can remember like I didn't have that thought, but I had some pretty weird and out there takes for cinema. I wish
Yeah.
like I'm gonna have to. That might just be my next week opinion is me trying to go back and remember some of the weird takes I had.
Yeah. As a kid, I didn't really have a passion for cinema. Like as a small child, like yeah, I loved movies and stuff, sure.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know much about it. And I can remember reading a book like in 6th grade, so early middle school, about like how movies are made and special effects and all these different everything that goes into how a movie was made. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Like this is really really cool.
Yeah. I
Um,
love hearing I love it. I love it.
yeah, I liked dinosaurs and trains as a child. I did not have time to watch like French cinema or anything.
Right. Like I enjoyed watching movies, but like I said, I was too busy because I wanted to make my own.
Okay,
So I wasn't like watching
yeah,
them like when I'd watch them I enjoyed them, but I wasn't like the way I am now. I was too busy being like, well now I want to write.
I was too busy like eating a worm or something, man.
All
Like,
right.
oh.
What's your fourth here? Hit me with a four.
Okay, let me actually look up a reference here. One of the best movies of all time is a largely forgotten film, and
Okay.
it won Best Picture by the Screen Actors Guild.
Okay.
No, no, it won the. I don't know why I said that. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture in 2015.
15. Okay.
Best Picture, yeah, for the Oscars. Best Picture, Spotlight,
Ooh.
biographical drama film starring Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, John Slattery, and Stanley Tucci.
Uh-huh.
about the Boston Globe uncovering the fact that many priests throughout Boston and greater America and the world are, in fact, pedophiles and abusers. Because before the time that the Boston Globe revealed this in the early 2000s, people just didn't know that priests were covering up their misdeeds through the safety net of the Catholic Church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this film it talks about it's just exposing the church. It's exposing the Catholic Church and the legal battles that they have to go through with the lawyers from the church. And let me tell you, it's one of the best movies of all time. It's amazing.
And that's your take? Spotlight is one of the best movies of all time?
Yep. Extremely underrated, highly underrated. And
Interesting. See,
I love it.
I feel like I heard about this movie. Like, I remember when it was coming out. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but the last I heard about it, wasn't it because like the Catholic Church like banned it?
Something like that,
They
yeah.
were
Like they didn't like
you
it.
as a member of the Catholic Church cannot watch this.
Yeah, but it's like you as a Catholic priest shouldn't be diddling a children.
To all of our Catholic listeners, we don't judge the Catholic Church. We're just basing off the movie.
Oh, I judge the Catholic Church.
Okay,
Not the Catholics themselves.
Time to move on. Politics, religion. Move on. This one. Another one I really need to preface because I think you're gonna yell at me.
Okay.
I really threw in all my steamy ones. James Cameron.
Sure.
Great director.
Oh yeah.
I feel is slightly overrated.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like I think
What are you talking about?
he's earned his status. Don't get me wrong. Like Alien is ridiculously good. I mean, we've discussed, me and you, the straight up just the symbolism that movie has, and like we studied it in class together, right? So like I'm not gonna judge.
He didn't direct that.
Huh?
He didn't direct that.
Well, he did Aliens too. My bad. He did Aliens.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was the one I was meaning to do. Well, we talked about the first one, but yeah, he did do Aliens. Let's see, what else did he? Obviously he did Avatar, and he's doing the second one. Like, I like his movies. Don't get me wrong.
Titanic.
Obviously, well, Titanic. Who produced Titanic? I can't remember who produced Titanic. But regardless, the point I'm trying to make here. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. I feel like he as a creator has some really good, really good titles to his name. But when you compare him to some other things, like some other creators, i.e. Scorsese or Tarantino, or I'll even say Nolan, I don't think it stacks up.
You know what? I'm gonna change my mind here. I agree.
Really?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Wow.
The movies that I'm looking at here that James Cameron directed, like, yeah, some great ones, but like nothing like Spielberg.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Avatar. I loved Avatar. I love Avatar. Like the Terminator movies. Yeah. I'm not really seeing anything else that just grips me. Is like, yeah, like this is a masterpiece. I mean, yeah, Titanic's great. He produced Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
2019's. Have you seen that?
Not a good movie. I've seen bits and pieces.
What are you talking about? Oh man, I love it.
Really? See, I watch
yeah,
I feel like I can't sit through it. Maybe I got to give it an actual chance because I feel like I start watching it, I'm just like,
Oh no, man.
Yeah,
I saw it about a month ago. Wonderful time. I cannot wait for the sequel.
Yeah. No, but like in respect, I'll watch the first one again and give it an actual shot. But yeah, but back to the point, like what you said, like Avatar, great. That's going to be a great film series, right? Titanic's a great movie. He created the Terminator. He did Aliens too. But like, I feel like the Terminator series after the first two, they're all just kind of money bags at that point. They're all just
like, why are you watching this, man?
Yeah.
Like, why are you watching Terminator 3?
Yeah.
Like, go do something.
The
man.
story's over. And so, like,
you need to mow your yard, bro.
Like, yeah, like turn off Terminator. it's over. Like, so yeah, that's why, like, I put slightly because, like, he did create the Terminator franchise. He did he has created this Avatar franchise, and the Titanic's good. So he's done more in his life than I'll probably ever do. But I still don't think he like, some people have him in this conversation of what you said earlier, the Spielbergs and the Scorseses, and I'm just like, meh.
Yeah, he seems like he should be like a marine biologist. That's what he really wants to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't want to make movies. He wants to be at the bottom of the ocean.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
it's like James, buddy, you can. You have all the money in the world. Just be in a submarine all day. You don't have to make these movies. Like
Right.
nobody's, we're you put out Titanic. Like that's all we needed, man.
Like, he did a movie recently with didn't he directed trying to think here. It had Matt Damon and Ben Affleck recently. It was about
Ooh,
the Great Wall of China. What was that called?
what?
It was very recently. It did very bad. If I'm,
The
I
Great
could be
Wall of
remembering
China?
wrong. I could be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he did this movie. He directed it, and he was very upset when it did bad. And he started going off about how if this is James Cameron, I could be wrong. I swore he did that.
The Great Wall?
Is that what it's called?
Is it called the Great? Man, if it's the Great Wall, oh no, that can't be it. Yeah, that. Yes.
Did he do that one?
Matt Damon in the Great Wall. I don't think that's James Cameron.
I swear there was
It
a movie
doesn't
he
look
did
like it.
recently. I could be way off my rocker here. No, this isn't him, but this one does have Matt Damon. No, this was 2016. Well, there was a movie, I swear, that came out not that long ago that he had done, and he was mad because I'm probably thinking of another director. But this is not. This is well past the point I'm trying to make here. I was just griping about whoever this director was. I thought it was James Cameron, but the point is that this guy, I can't remember which one it was mad because he was like, no one does cinema anymore. But yeah, so yeah.
We'll if you can find what movie you're talking about, we will cover it next week on the pod.
I'm digging for it. Give us your 5th point.
All right. Twist endings in movies.
Okay.
It's a cheap way to do cinema.
Really?
It's cheap, super cheap. And I mean, I don't know if the twist ending has been done well. It has been done well, but not as much as it's been done wrong, right? Or
Okay.
it's been done cheap. When I think of a twist ending in a movie, I think of the Sixth Sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was dead the whole time, whatever. He was a ghost. That was great, right? Fight
Right.
Club, awesome. Shutter Island, perfect, right? But like everything else, I don't really know. I don't know of a great one that has this mass. Oh, Orphan. The twist at the end of Orphan is nuts.
Oh yeah.
M. Night
Orphan was
Shyamalan.
wild. Yeah.
When I think of M. Night Shyamalan, I just think of like kind of some half-baked films.
Yeah.
know? Maybe this is wrong. Maybe I don't believe this because I'm seeing Saw, the first Saw. What about the twist ending in that one?
Well, I think the point you're trying to make here, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I found the movie, by the way. But the point I think is that, like, it's overused.
It is.
Very rarely
And
is
when
it
you-
done so well that you're like that it accomplishes what it's trying to do.
Right. And
I
like,
understand.
films don't need twist endings because if it's a good enough film, you don't need that like last sort of punchline like that.
Right.
Like the punchline can be something about theme or plot or something like that. Not oh well, he was actually a horse in a costume the entire time.
Yeah.
Everybody, everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I feel what you're saying though. That the director I was thinking of, the movie was called The Last Duel, and it came out late last year, and it was directed by Ridley Scott. I confused them once.
Have I seen it?
I meant to talk about Aliens 2, and I said Alien. But yeah, Ridley Scott was the one who was all mad and was like, "Yo, you guys ruined cinema. You don't know true cinema." And it was because this guy didn't advertise it at all. Like nobody knew it was coming out, and it did very bad at the box office.
Ridley Scott's a better director than James Cameron.
Completely agree. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like he is phenomenal. He's a great director. But yeah, Ridley Scott was the one.
Yeah, I like Ridley Scott, man. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. He was the one who was all mad. But yeah, I'm not going to go back to my James Cameron point because it's made. But yeah, I like Ridley Scott a lot. But yeah, would you, my friend, want to move on to our Month of Fincher?
The Month of David Fincher.
All right, and that is coming right up. And so begins the Month of Fincher. This has been one that we've been planning for a long time. In fact, we were going to start with Fincher before we realized Eggers was coming out with a new movie. Am I correct? Am I remembering that correctly?
That is right.
Yeah, so this one we've been pretty excited about. Both of us are pretty big Fincher fans. I'm not going to say he's my favorite, but I'm pretty sure you've been on the pod and said he was your favorite, correct?
Well, it's different because I love the Fincher movies, but I can't say that Fincher is my favorite because he's a director, right?
Right.
He's not a writer. He's not an auteur, as they say.
Not at all.
And not at all. No, he takes scripts and he turns them into films, right?
But he's so world class, like at what he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a bad movie.
No, like every movie he's made, and I'm sure we'll be saying the same thing about Mank, which we'll be watching for next week's show. That's the only one I don't think I've seen that I can confidently say is good, but I'm for certain it will be.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so first we're gonna start with Gone Girl, the 2014 mystery thriller starring Ben Affleck and now I'm blanking her plays Amy.
What is her name? One of my favorite actresses.
Rosamund Pike. She is phenomenal. It
Right,
also
yeah.
has
Yeah.
Tyler Perry and Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah, it's a very good. Obviously, it's a Fincher film we just described. It's a very good film. It's it messes with your brain a little bit because the first, I would say, over 1/3 of the movie. I wouldn't quite say halfway, but the whole first third plus of the film, you're thinking this is the way it is. Like something's up. Just because of the little hints given. So we're going to be spoiling these, by the way. So if you haven't seen them, they've been out for almost a decade, and the Dragon Tattoo has been out since 11. So you go watch it, turn it off. We'll give you however many seconds post this to do that. But yeah, we're going to be spoiling these. So, and now your time's up to have paused. If you're still listening, I'm assuming that you have seen these and or don't care to be spoiled. Anyway, the movie starts with Ben Affleck, or Nick Dunn, as he is going to his bar where he has employed his twin sister, and he goes into this he's describing his marriage and how it's their 5th anniversary, and this guy he hates his wife. He's so mad because in their 4th anniversary, he couldn't figure out the clues. She leaves these clues for their anniversaries, and he's got to figure out what they are, and that's just kind of what she does.
She's real extra.
Yes, very. And so he couldn't figure out what the 4th anniversary the clue was, and she was mad at him, and he never figured it out. And so when he gets home post this, during this too, you start seeing flashbacks of how they fell in love, and they were very much I wouldn't say the perfect couple, but when you initially see them getting together, they are very much in love, and they don't seem to have very many problems. And this continues in the flashbacks until I think their 3rd or 4th year together. No, I think it's 3rd year. They're for much of the movie, when they first start dating, all the way through their marriage into their 2nd, 3rd year married, they're very good together. And we'll get into why they start falling apart later. But back to the beginning, Nick Dunn goes walking back to his house. He drives back to his home, lets his cat back inside. The neighbor called, was worried. The door is cracked open, and he goes in, and his wife is missing, but also it seems to have been a case of burglary. So he calls the police, and...
Oh, and there's also blood.
Well, he doesn't see the blood. Remember, it was cleaned up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
he
right.
Calls the police, and they immediately find some blood spatter, and they don't really tell him he's a victim yet. But so they start going, and they're starting to prepare this as a missing persons case because of her high profile. Nick's wife, Amy, the one missing, is also a minor celebrity, as her family her mom and her dad, who are just awful people, penned a book series called Amazing Amy, which depicts her but better. It is their daughter, but everything better. Like one instance, they gave the book character a dog, but wouldn't give the real Amy a dog because they wanted the character to be more realistic. Which is just sad. Um, but I digress. And the rest of the first one third follows these mentions of flashbacks and these scenes where Nick, Ben Affleck's character, makes himself look really bad. You see as their marriage starts falling apart, and you're seeing it from Amy's perspective of her diary. And it looks a lot like Nick murdered his wife and, threw her down the river. And there seems to be a pretty good case building until, Cole, do you want to say what happens here?
You go ahead. You could probably better articulate it.
So yeah, she tried to frame him for murder. She hated his guts because he was cheating. This man is no means innocent. He was a cheat, and he, like, the things he does to make himself look bad. He didn't know her blood type. He didn't know she had friends. He didn't know anything about her, and that's his wife of 5 years. And they had money issues.
I don't know my own blood type.
That's fair, but in the movie that was a big point. And
Yeah, big.
yeah, so he looks bad enough because he doesn't know any details about her, and they already had issues, and she owned all the money. Like, she owned the house, she owned the bar that he owned, or that he worked at, and ran, and so it looked a lot like he was the guy. But then it turns out, as you get to the end of this diary, and as everything's kind of crashing down around Nick, you realize that Rosamund Parks' character, Amy, is trying to frame her husband, and not only that, she is literally insane.
She's nuts.
Oh,
she is nuts.
Yeah, she is like paranoid and controlling to the max.
Yeah.
So to put it short, she goes on the run, gets robbed because she's obviously on the run. Like, you can tell, she dyes her hair, cuts it real shaggy, puts on an accent, and she's robbed because she's got all this money in cash. And so she calls her stalker ex-boyfriend, who's very rich, and it looks like he's not going to let her go. And after watching a press conference of Nick, who is building this case with his defense lawyer, Tyler Perry, to prove that she is crazy and has framed him, he is also trying to make the rest of the world see him in a better light, because not only do the police think he did it, but the rest of the world think he did it because he like smiles during these weird pictures, and it comes out that he had this affair that she got really mad at. And so, yeah, she sees him on TV as he's playing this part, trying to portray himself in a better light to the public so he might be able to win his court case. And she sees that, and she realizes. So the whole, I guess I should preface before this, a big part of the story is that because it's a lot of inner monologuing from Amy, a lot of inner monologuing. And she describes how she was someone she knew that Nick would want because she found him attractive. She wasn't herself. She played the part that she thought he would enjoy so he would be with her. And during this press conference, Nick says the exact same thing. He says, "I wasn't good enough for you." This is all a front to get her to come home because he knows she's still alive. And he says, I wasn't good enough and I played this part, which is in part true, but she sees that and she thinks that is the Nick that I want. That is the husband that I'd married. And the real him doesn't matter because what he faked on TV to try to get me to come home so that he could clear his name of murder is the Nick I want. So as she is trapped by the stalker ex-boyfriend in his like lake house with all these cameras, she starts to frame him for rape, and then she slashes his throat. This ex-boyfriend is also played by Neil Patrick Harris very well, very expertly played. And she slashes his throat. She drives home, and she makes this big media spectacle of how she came back and how their life is perfect now, and Nick is cleared of all charges, and the lead investigator that was trying to find Nick is now trying to get his wife for just falsifying her own murder. And and so as the story concludes, you realize that poor Nick, he can't leave because the media has portrayed Amy as this angel that was kidnapped by her ex-boyfriend who she had to kill to protect herself, and if he leaves, he looks real bad. And then to end the movie, She goes to the sperm bank where at the beginning Nick Dune had described he had donated sperm to try to get her pregnant before all this crazy crap happened. And she impregnates herself with his child so he can't leave outside of everything else he can't leave for. And that's really how the movie ends. Now,
It really ends how it started.
exactly.
They're in the same position. That's the punchline,
The
right?
same scene, yeah. But and what's eerie about that initial scene is that he talks about how he wonders what she's thinking, how he would like to bust open her skull to figure out what she's thinking. And when you first hear that, that immediately puts, like I said, the first three-fourths or third of the movie, you're thinking this man is a killer, and after that first line, especially, you're like, this guy is weird. But then when it gets back to that point and you see what all she's done, it really makes a lot of sense, and you honestly agree with him. Like you're like, man, like maybe he should do something he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like you're not saying you're not condoning murder, but you're like he's got to do something to get out of this marriage.
Yeah. She's too smart for her own good. She's so intelligent. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
she's a genius, right? And
yeah,
you kind of see Nick as a man of average intelligence throughout the film, right?
right,
He does what a normal person would do, and she does something that only a character would do. She
right.
only does things that, yeah, that a crazy lunatic would do.
Oh, just cruel, just a cruel human being. And I think the biggest thing about this movie, and we talked about how Fincher isn't necessarily a writer. He's more of this world-class director. And I know that this was obviously written in the script, but the way it's portrayed in the movie, just the symbolism with certain details are so wonderful. And my favorite throughout that whole movie, Gone Girl, is when Amy comes back from the hospital and Nick goes inside and he's like, drop the act. And she tells him exactly what I said about how she was like, I saw you on TV and that's the husband I want. I don't want you. I want the husband you played. He's trying to convince or trying to get her to confess, and she says, "I'm taking a shower," because she's still covered in Neil Patrick Harris's blood after she cut his throat, right? So she's like, "Hey, come up to the bathroom, take a shower, or like watch me shower naked in there, so that I can make sure you're not watching and not you don't have a wire on, right?" So they go up and they're both naked in the shower, and she's washing off this blood, and there's this really cool shot of it going down the drain, and it's really kind of awkward when you first take it at face value because you're like, what is happening? Because they're having this conversation about how he's going to leave, and she's like, how bad's it going to look if you leave the poor, raped, innocent, kidnapped wife? But it looks to me, that scene is almost like they're both being judged. Like, this is like judgment based upon them both, because neither character is innocent at all. But only one of them truly has blood on them that they are washing off.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like they're both
Oh
being
good.
judged. They're both being judged for their sins, if you want to put it that way. I don't think it's a judgment religiously, but they're both kind of seeing each other for what they truly are. They're both vulnerable. They both are completely guilty of. One was just lust and hating his wife and cheating, but the one that was portrayed to have been the true bloodlust was completely void of that. The only one cleaning blood off of themselves was Amy.
Well, and because that kind of goes to show that the only person that knows Amy's truth of what she's actually been doing is Nick.
Yeah.
And now that she's back with Nick and she has him, to where he can't out her for that, then she can wash the blood from her body.
Right. It's like she was stained with that to the public eye. And while most people saw it as her having to do what she had to do to survive, everyone that like Nick primarily, but the cop, the police officer, and Tyler Perry, I think his name was Holt or Bolt, or I can't remember. I think it was Bolt. Those people saw the blood stain as her true self, her true colors, who she really is. And I just think that
Right.
scene and that delivery is just masterful. Like I'm watching that, I was watching that with my girlfriend, and Ashley was watching it, and she was kind of cracking up, like, "Man, this is awkward." And I'm over there freaking out. Like I talk with my hands, so I'm like silently watching this scene, and I'm like moving my body weird ways, and I'm like, "Look at the symbolism! Like, look at this!"
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking at me like I'm crazy, and she's like, "Yeah, I get it." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. This is beautiful." And so yeah, she was laughing at me, but like I like that scene. Whenever I think of this movie and David Fincher, it'll be scenes like this that will stick. It's so beautiful and it's so well told because it's not something that you will see on face value. It's something you have to dig deeper for. And Fincher has so many moments like that in all his movies. But that one, to me, in particular, in Gone Girl, really stands out.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. Yeah, his name's Bolt, by the way.
Bolt. Okay, it was. I knew it was one of those two. Tyler Perry was amazing in that movie. Like there wasn't one bad actor. Everyone in that movie
No,
played their
not at
parts
all.
so well.
But excellently casted.
Yeah.
Like good actors, but also good actors in the correct roles. Neil Patrick Harris was great. He's the second most interesting character
Yeah.
in the film, but Rosamund Pike, this movie is about Rosamund Pike. Ben Affleck is just a surrogate audience.
Yeah, like like Ben
This
Affleck's
movie is
just this unfortunate soul who, like I said, he's obviously not a good guy. Like
no.
he you can argue he's a trash human being. But
But
God,
like
he married the
he's
wrong
not as
person.
bad as she is.
No,
He's not
that's
as
the
bad as
point.
she is.
Yeah, like you feel bad
No.
for this poor
And
man.
and you the real once you realize how deep uh Nick is halfway through the movie when it is revealed that she has done this to exes before. She's done this to multiple
Yes.
ex-boyfriends.
Yeah.
He's not the first.
She had her one
Yes.
ex-boyfriend accused or like arrested and charged for rape.
Yes. Maybe not multiple, maybe just him, but there was another one too that they mentioned, I think.
Yeah. No, it's the screenplay. I want to give credit to the author of the screenplay, Gillian Flynn. Masterful, masterful job. Like both of these movies that we've watched and that we're discussing tonight. I have it pulled up on my phone because I'm going to read them because they're so well done.
Yeah, read some from the screenplay because I've read part of it too. I've thumbed through it and oh, it's masterful. Like you said, there's no other way to put it.
Want to see what other movies Gillian Flynn has done because she is so good. Like that was so well written. I'm looking. She did The Grown Up.
But books,
Sorry, what?
novels.
Yeah. She wrote the. I'm trying to see here. Obviously, Gone Girl's in here. She's just an amazing writer, and she wrote a comic book, television
wow.
writing, film. She wrote the Gone Girl screenplay. I'm trying. She wrote ITV Widows with Viola Davis starring. Like she's just she's a great writer. Kudos to you, Gillian Flynn. I absolutely adored this movie.
And maybe some more Gillian Flynn books will become films. Who knows?
As long
She's written,
only if she's writing the screenplay as well.
of course. Oh, absolutely.
Like if there's any more of her books that make it to film, and if it's not written by her, like the screenplay, I refuse. Like I won't boycott it, but I will not be happy.
Her second book, Dark Places. It came out in 2009. It looks really good.
Hmm?
I want to read this actually. It's about rural America and the Satanic Panic.
Interesting. Yeah. It was adapted to the feature. It was adapted into a feature film. Maybe I should watch that because it's got Chloe Moretz. It's got Drea De Matteo, Christina Hendricks. Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe I'll see it. Who knows?
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I think unless you have anything else to add to Gone Girl, we've gone over the synopsis, we've gone over the symbolism. There are so many more, but there's almost too many to count. You just gotta watch the movie if you've not seen it.
You got to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with that, oh sorry, you got anything?
I will say that Gone Girl is it's a good film, right? It's so good, but it's not as enjoyable to watch as many of the Fincher films.
Oh, I agree.
Like, yeah, like that's my big hang up with it is like it's an uncomfortable film. And many great films are, but it's not a fun movie by any means.
Oh right, and it like to add credence to like help build like to what you're saying at the very beginning when Nick is first talking to the two detectives that come over to look at his house when he reports it being vandalized and his wife missing. He's just so awkward and weird and like unlikable. Like
Yeah,
there's not
very
one
much unlikable.
there's not one major protagonist in this entire movie that you look at other than Margot, the twin sister.
She's
She
great.
she's phenomenal. And Margot was probably the only likable character in this entire movie. And she was played by Carrie Coon. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I think
And
that's
you hate Amy by the end of the movie.
oh
Like
yeah,
you just want to, yeah,
yeah.
obviously. Like she is, and Rosamund Pike does a great job at that. Have you seen I Care a Lot on
No, I
Netflix?
have not.
Oh, it's one of my top films. It's starring Rosamund Pike, and she plays a very similar character, a psychopath. Um,
Really?
yeah, this is in I Care a Lot. It's a black comedy. It's a satire film for sure. It's got Peter Dinklage in it.
Okay.
But what she does is she is a con woman who seizes the assets of old people. She does this in a serial way. She does this to like 50 or 60 women. This is her possession
Oh
or her
wow.
career rather. Yeah. She gets old men and women, I should say, um, seizes their assets and then sells all of their possessions, sells all of their heirlooms and their homes, and she becomes very rich.
Hmm.
So it's a film about her doing that, um, and it's really good. It's really good. When I saw it, I related it to being almost like Parasite,
Ooh.
just in plot development of being just that good.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm definitely gonna give it a watch if you compare it to that. And
You gotta watch it right
as you
now.
said, Rosamund Pike is great.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen her in any other films, but I know there's one I'm missing.
I mean, she was in Johnny English. I know that's probably.
Ah,
uh,
she was a Bond girl, Die Another Day.
yeah. She's in
Yeah, so
Fracture.
she's doing a lot of things,
Yeah, she's all over the place, and she is like we said, she's a great actress.
and she's been acting in films since she was, very young. She's been acting in films since the early 2000s, so
Oh yeah,
before I was born.
oh yeah, yeah. I think I really don't think there's anything else to say about Gone Girl, so I think it's time to move on. I do want to once again go watch this movie. It's so good.
And we have to rate it.
Oh yeah. That's Ooh gosh, this was tough.
I'm gonna say Gone Girl was my least favorite Fincher film.
I hate to say that, but like I'm kind of like I'm in a similar boat to where like I mean I don't want to give too much of a sneak peek, but we're going over Seven and Zodiac in our fourth week. Um, and I've seen both of those, and I definitely think it's worse. I think the next film we're going to discuss it's our main event topic for a reason because obviously Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was much more enjoyable. Um, gosh, I'll give it. Hmm. I want to give it a 7, but I feel like it should be a 6.5. I'll give it 7.
I was gonna give it a 6.
Okay. So perfect then. I'm gonna give it 7, so that the beyond the screen rating will be 6.5. Let me think here. What should the ratings be? Oh man, usually they're easier.
Maybe it's not for us. Maybe we're rating it too low because it's about hating your wife. It's about hating. It's a marital drama film,
Yeah. Okay. So
right?
what
That's
what
the root of it.
what I will do, if you bump yours up to 6.5, I'll bump mine up to 7.5. So our average is 7.
Okay,
That
we
is
could
as
do that.
high as I'll go.
We'll say 7 wine bottles out of 10.
Okay, that's fair. Yep. 7 wine bottles out of 10 is Gone Girl, and that's out of respect because it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I didn't resonate it. I didn't resonate with it as much as I could have.
Yeah, and like you said, we just don't relate to it, and it's just not that we were gonna relate to the next one, but the next one was much more enjoyable. And speaking of that,
Much better film.
We're moving on to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Okay, so here we go. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I texted you right after I finished rewatching this because, like, it's one of those movies that, like, once you watch it, you forget everything that happens because so much goes down. Um, dude, I think you said it best. You described it as just brooding, and I love that word for.
It's so dark.
Yeah, like,
I mean, it's set in the winter in Sweden, northern Sweden.
yeah, man, like, oh gosh, like it's. I don't even know where to begin trying to go over what this movie entails because, like, Gone Girl's easier to dissect and give a summary of, like, a synopsis. This one is hard. I think
Well, the basic principle is that Mikhail Blomkvist is played by Daniel Craig, and he is a journalist, right?
Mhm.
And he's involved in a big libel suit. Businessman Hans Erik Wernerstrom is a businessman, and uh, Mikhail, wrote a big article about him, but a lot of it was untrue.
or
The
wasn't
courts
they
decided that it
weren't
was
able to
untrue.
prove it. Yeah, they weren't able to prove it.
Yeah. So Mikhail loses all of his money and is disgraced as a journalist. Um, so what happens is a man named Henrik gets a hold of Neil Patrick or not Neil Patrick Harris, Mikhail. I don't know why I thought it.
No, you're
I don't know why I
good.
said that. Yeah. He gets a hold of Mikhail through Lisbeth Salander, a young girl who is a ward of the state. She's a private investigator and computer hacker. So she's hired by Henrik to run a tab on Mikhail. So she does, and Mikhail is called to Henrik's place, and he says, "Okay, I will give you some dirt on Werner Strom, right? So you can use it to convict him, or to at least get some money back and restore your name as a journalist. I've got some dirt on him. If you can help me solve the case of my a 40 years long dead adopted daughter's murder on the very island in which Henrik lives." And I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, so he's hired. They think she's murdered. It was like, I think Henrik would label it as a disappearance, but the rest of the family, they just say they just assume she's dead. Um,
Yeah.
and Henrik, who
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
the thing that Henrik knows that it's a murder because the girl had given Henrik a framed picture of like a pressed flower or pressed piece of a plant every year for his birthday, right? So she dies or she disappears, but he still receives these things in the mail every year. So he assumes
Right,
that they are from her killer.
right, and he shows Daniel Craig that he shows, and so yeah, so Henrik thinks Henrik does think she's dead. I think that's a good point. Henrik is played by Christopher Plummer, who gives a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah, he wasn't as much in this one, but he does do very well as Henrik. And we get to see the rest of the Wenger family, and they're a little odd. Two of them are Nazis, um, and most of them don't speak to each other, despite all of them living doors down each other. Like, they all live on the same island owned by the family.
They all hate each other. I mean,
They
and keep in mind that
hate.
these people are multimillionaires.
Yes.
They are all the heirs of the largest private corporation in Sweden.
Oh yeah, like Wenger himself is doubling what Mikhail's salary was at the journalist or at the newspaper he worked to do this.
And he quadruples it if he discovers who kills Harriet,
Yes,
the young girl that died 40 years prior.
yes, and so we see as Daniel Craig's character
Well, died.
Mikhail, yeah, but we see as Daniel Craig's character start to do his investigation. He's going over facts of the case, and Now, interject here if there's something I'm missing here, because this is another one of those, like, all Fincher films are like there's so much that goes on that it's easy to overlook certain details. Um, but Mikhail talks to the police that investigated the case, who know most of the details off, like, just off memory. Um, Goes to other members of the family who don't really want to divulge much other than just who Harriet was as a person. And at some point, Mikhail is like, I need an assistant here because there's so much going on. Like, he finds certain details, certain aspects of the case that are new, but he's starting to think, hey, this is too much for just me. I need an assistant to help me out with this. Get a second pair of eyes on this case. And so I guess a preface here: how Henrik found Mikhail was they hired Elizabeth Salander, Rooney Mara's character, to do an otherwise illegal PI private investigation job on Mikhail, which included hacking into his computer and other details to find out stuff about his life. And after Mikhail loses the case, that's how Henrik finds him and knows that this man is the man for the job. So when Mikhail goes to Henrik and his assistant, I can't think of his character's name, but Dirch, when he goes to them to about trying to get an assistant, they immediately point him in the direction of Elizabeth, who Mikhail very quickly figures out is essentially stalking him, but for money, not because she's weird, but because that's what she does for a living. And he buys her food, and he's like, okay, now you're helping me. And he very quickly realizes just how good at her job she is, because she's got like this weird, like, what kind of memory? She's got like photographic memory, that's it, where she just
A
knows.
photographic
Yeah. So yeah.
memory.
So they start doing the investigation together. They start figuring out more and more details. Like, they found a picture of Harriet on like the day of her disappearance, and they follow those leads, and it just keeps spiraling down this rabbit hole. But also, I think we need to stop and talk about Elizabeth for a second. Her life
So,
entailed heartbreak after heartbreak. I mean,
right.
in the worst possible way.
Abuse.
I mean, just it's the most visceral, surreal, just ugly set of like sequence of events I think I've seen him film in a long time.
Yeah, and where I'm a man and I'm not a woman. It hit me very hard to see the abuse that she endures. So I could only imagine what a woman might feel, or a woman who's been through similar abuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to go to recap what happens to her before we move forward in their investigation. Elizabeth, being a ward of the state, as we figure out at the end of the movie, she her dad, who I think it was implied he was abusing her too. Um, she killed him, and when she was like 12, and so the government in place in it well, the government placed her as a ward of the state because they deemed her as not mentally capable of handling herself as a human. So they made her a ward of the state. Now, present day, when the movie takes place, she is 23, and she has to go through a counselor or a almost like an advisor to her life in order to get funds, her own funds, to get to her own money. And to say this guy, as we had said, abuses her is, I think, an understatement. Um,
Oh, he withholds the money unless at first she engages in sexual favors for him, and then he rapes her
yeah.
in a most brutal fashion.
Oh, it's so nasty.
Uh, yeah, it's disgusting, but she gets the best of him for that.
Yeah, yeah. She to say that that's an understatement because she gets in good. And she so first off, during the whole rape thing, she put a camera in one of her buttons on her backpack, which she set in one of the chairs in the room facing the bed. And she says that she didn't think it was going to go as far as it did, but she did get it on video, the whole thing. And so she goes back to his house, tases him, ties him up naked, and tells him he's going to, or she's going to post that video unless he complies to certain um, aspects that she imposes upon him. which include. Sorry, go ahead, Cole.
Oh, they include allowing her full access to her funds, and she never wants to contact or see him. He is just required to write a fake report for her every month saying that they've had a meeting and that she's doing well and her mental state is doing better. And this is all explained to him while he has a large metal rod inserted into his anus.
Yeah, that she had placed there very aggressively. Uh, rightfully so. Like this guy just yeah
Kicked it in there.
yeah this guy deserves this. So
Oh,
no
he's a pig.
yeah
Yeah, and then afterwards, in order, she says, "Oh, you have to remain celibate. You can't do this to any other woman." So she takes a tattoo gun while he's tied up and writes, "I'm a rapist pig" on his chest.
yeah it is another brutal scene, but it's also kind of like yes like
Like, good, yeah, that guy's a monster.
yeah, like get your revenge, stop him from doing the evil that he's been doing. I'm happy this is happening, but also like ugh, like a lot of bad stuff going on.
And the part that got me the most is, after, right before she does this, when she would talk to Elizabeth and when he wasn't extorting her for sexual favors, he would have this almost caring and casual tone while talking to her,
Yeah,
as if he didn't even understand that she is disgusted with herself and him after these events have come to pass.
right. Like he's delusional.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He thinks that they're friends.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a very nasty set of circumstances. Oh, and her because she's a ward of the state, she has to have like a caregiver, I guess is the way to put it, kind of like a ward. And this dude that she's close with, because she ends up getting close with this guy, he has a stroke, and that's kind of where her problems start. Um, but yeah, so now that we've gotten past this and we've kind of gone through her history, she is recruited, or I don't even want to say recruited. She's just kind of taken in by Mikhail, who's just like, you are coming up north with me to help me do this, and you're going to like it. And she says, fine. Um, so they start doing the investigations, and she shows she is so very good at what she does. And some romance starts brewing up. We see some very raunchy scenes between our two characters.
And they really like each other.
Yeah, it's like a lot of
Um,
lot of chemistry.
a lot of chemistry. And they make a great couple, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's real. It's
Both kind of some dark and broody
yeah,
investigators.
yeah, and it's really like it's nice to see Elizabeth like happy. Like while it might be hard to see because her character is very like stonewall faced, like she doesn't really show emotion unless it's like anger. Um, but just little things she does, like he had his hand up her shirt, like touching her shoulder at one point, and he took it off, and she was like, "Do that again," because like it felt nice, and it's just like you know what I mean. It's just like little things like that you can tell that it makes her happy, and after seeing all that she had been through, you're like, "Oh yeah, like this is good, like this is great."
And he is also like a man in his early 50s or late 40s, and she's a 23-year-old. But
Yeah,
they make a great they have a great. I really like those parts of the movie because, like you said, it's nice to see Elizabeth actually feel safe and comfortable with someone
yeah,
because she feels so unsafe with everyone.
yeah,
She's a very vulnerable character.
yeah, and you do nothing but just feel for her, like you just feel so empathetic.
I think I left the film like loving her, like
Yeah.
not loving her as a character. Like I felt like I wanted to like take her out on a date.
Right, like you wanted to be that the thing that she never had. Like, oh man, like I would.
Yeah, I was kind of crushing on her big time.
Yeah, yeah. Hey man, more power. Like I understand.
Okay, good. Yeah. Um, but more so than her, I might be objectifying her a bit. More so than her being whatever. She's a phenomenal detective and a phenomenal hacker. She can find any piece of information
Mm-hmm.
that she needs, and she is in everyone's computers throughout the entire film.
Mm-hmm. No, she's like I said, she's great at her job. Like she more than earns her gig, but because of her past, she can't have anything more than PI because, like I said, like her resume doesn't allow her to be kind of like above the table pay.
Right, right.
And
So, would you like to go on and describe what happens further in the plot?
yeah, so throughout the story, as we said, you see Mikhail kind of talk to different characters throughout the family, and one in particular we see constantly, and it is played by none other than Stellan Skarsgård. It's Martin Vanger. It is Henrik's nephew, and he's this reoccurring character who's like he seems very very interested in the case. He's very wanting to be very helpful. He keeps telling Henrik. He's like, this needs to end some point. We need someone to figure out what happened to Harriet. And the whole time he seems almost too helpful. Like you're not like suspicious of him completely, but you're like, this guy's a little off, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You're just like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, you know that something's gonna happen with this guy. He's not just
Right.
an aidful
Right.
confidant.
And the tension just keeps building throughout this movie. Like it's so like you could cut it with a knife. It's so just visceral, just the whole thing. And so we move forward and we learn that Martin's father has all these connections to places where the company has been and where women have been murdered. And all these murders are connected to like biblical like passages and all these different things until Martin's father dies. And I think that's a really big point in this turning point in this thing is where you know he's dead. They talk about Martin's father being killed, and then all of a sudden you see all these different places to where the company's been, where this character has been, and the death going on in terms of these women being murdered, like stabbed and posed in these like biblical passage-esque ways. And so finally, after like at one point Mikhail was shot at, and we're seeing all these things happen. Mikhail goes to, I don't want to say he goes to confront Martin, but he goes up to his house, which is like above where Mikhail's staying on the island. He has to go up like a hill. And he goes up there, and he goes into his house, and he's investigating. He's not really finding anything. He grabs a knife, and Martin eventually returns home, and Mikhail is trying to walk away, but he slips and he falls, and Martin hears him, and he's like, "Yo, come inside for a drink." And Mikhail, not wanting to be rude, he walks back inside. And so these two kind of have this conversation, and then Martin pulls out a gun because he noticed his knife is gone, and he's like, "Yo, Mikhail, put my knife back and follow me." So Martin proceeds to take Mikhail down into his basement before gassing him and tying him up and hanging him in the middle of the room. And I think if you can tell, you can't tell, it turns out that Martin is my man's got some bloodlust, specifically for women. As he states to Mikhail, "You're the first man I've ever had in here." He's like, I'm not used to this." And let me tell you, the Skarsgård, like this man this guy has to be related to the other Skarsgårds that we've talked about,
It's
right?
his brother, yeah.
Yeah, like this, like
Yeah.
the Skarsgårds are just like, well, this Stellan is the father to Alexander and Bill.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
But this man is like the Skarsgårds just breed actors, and he is so good in this movie. But as he has this monologue where he's talking to Daniel Craig's character as he's hanging in the middle of the room, and he's going over about like just his life and his father. And at one point he's like, my dad was, he did call him a narcissist. He was like, he left the bodies to be found. And so you realize that there's a much deeper murdering spree within this child, and or well, the child of the father, I should say, in this now grown man in his mid 40s. But yeah, and right as this man is about to murder, he places a bag over Mikhail's head and is about to chop him up. Our girl Elizabeth walks in with a golf club and just destroys
Yeah.
this man. like breaks his jaw.
Just messes him up. Yeah. Oh gosh.
One good swing and this man's just out. Like he's essentially, he's not dead, but he hits the ground before eventually running away. Obviously, Elizabeth saves Mikhail, and I think this was the best interaction between the two because she goes, "Can I kill him?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And he's like trying to breathe, and then she grabs the gun that he dropped when she clocked him in the face with a golf club and starts chasing him on her motorcycle. And long story short, Martin crashes, the car explodes, and the murderer is now dead. while that answers one question, right? Who's been murdering these women? They uncovered, like I said, they uncovered this murdering spree. They uncover all this stuff. But the question still remains: what happened to Harriet? Because in this exchange between Mikhail and Martin, before Martin tries to kill Mikhail, Mikhail says, "So this is what happened to Harriet," and Martin is like, "Oh, so you know?" And he seems like taken aback. He was like truly interested because he didn't know. He didn't kill was it his cousin or his sister? I think it was his sister.
Sister.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Harriet
yeah.
was his sister. He's like, "What happened to my sister?" Because he didn't kill him.
And plus, Harriet's disappearance did not line up to the rest of the murders at all. There were
Exactly.
no similarities.
Exactly. So at one point throughout the film, Mikhail goes to London to try to talk to one of the sisters, who I don't remember what she called herself, but she
She's an
essentially,
investment banker.
yes, in London, and she essentially says, "I know nothing. I only knew Harriet, and that's it." And she disappeared, and I don't know where she is. And so after this exchange, and after they realize after Martin's death, they're like, "Yo, we have no idea. Like this is not adding up. Like he didn't know, he had no idea." So Mikhail's like, I have an idea." So they go back to London, and he essentially looks at this sister and is like, "You are Harriet," and he's right. The one sister all along that was in London is in fact Harriet. She is alive, and she goes on to tell Mikhail about how she was abused by her father, sexually and physically, and how at one night while he was drunk, she ran out to the dock outside on the side of the island, and he stumbled chasing her, and she knocked him in the water with a paddle and drowned him, and that's how he died. And she said she thought it was over, but then she looked up and she saw Martin, her older brother, standing over her, like on top of the pew looking down. And that's when it started. And if you remember, we were talking about the photograph that Mikhail had found of Harriet at this parade where she looks taken aback and she walks away. It is discovered that Martin was across the street, and that's why she reacted the way that she did. Because Martin was supposed to have been sent off to this boarding school, and he had come back to abuse her some more. And then that's when she proceeded to disappear with the help of her sister preceding that. And yeah, that's
It's a wonderful plot. It's
yeah.
the last part of the plot.
Hard
I
to
mean,
say.
everything ties together so well.
Well, it hurt my heart, man. Like this film, it sticks with me. It hurts so bad because at the end, um, we see as Elizabeth expertly. So I guess I should say this. Henrik's promise to Mikhail was that if he found, not only would he quadruple his salary, but he'd also give Mikhail something that he could use to oust the guy that he tried to put in jail with his, well, or he tried to out with his article. He'd give him his head on a platter, he says. So following this, what was this man's name again? I can't remember this character.
Herman Strunger or something like that. Hairstrommer.
Yeah, Herrstromer. This man goes on the run, and Elizabeth gets like a $50,000, what she call it, a loan from Mikhail. And she takes that and she goes around and commits essentially fraud, but she takes all of his money from his bank accounts because remember, she can hack anything. And she goes around the world placing all the billions of dollars this man had into 5 different banks, returns the money back to Mikhail, and now she is a billionaire. And she uses this money or part of this money to buy Mikhail a new leather jacket that she had a picture of that she saw he was wearing and thought he would enjoy. And Cole, when I tell you that this scene broke my heart, I this is how the movie ends. For those that haven't seen it, this is how it ends. It's Christmas. It's a year after the movie started. She goes to take him his gift, Mikhail, who she's finally happy. Right before she does this, she tells her ward who had the stroke, she's like, "I found someone that you would approve of, and I'm happy." She's finally happy. She goes to take him his gift.
She thinks she has this. She thinks she has this boyfriend now.
Yeah.
This wonderful boyfriend.
Yeah.
But that is not the case when she shows up and he is with his old woman.
The woman that is having an affair. Like she's not even his woman.
No. He had a wife. He started having an affair with one of his colleagues at the newspaper, and he is with his colleague at the very end.
And
And
they're all lovey-dovey and such, and yeah. So he goes back to his old habits, and she sees that, throws the gift away, the leather jacket, and then rides off, and that's the end of the movie.
why would you ever want to be with that woman when you could be with Elizabeth Solander?
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh,
She's perfect.
bro,
She is my manic pixie dream girl.
no, dude, it broke my heart because she's finally happy, and like he didn't use her. I think he genuinely liked her, but I felt that way. Like I immediately wanted to be like, "Yo, this man just used her," but he didn't. Um, but like, man, like, gosh, it broke my heart, as I've said multiple times, and like it just makes me angry that he chose cheating partner. Like he would much rather keep up the. Ugh. And what's even worse is that, like, I think it's hinted throughout the film that Elizabeth liked Mikhail from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, she liked him when she was investigating him.
Yeah, she didn't want to divulge certain information that would make him look bad when um what's his name, Dirch's character was trying to get more info. And
Yeah, she didn't want to mention anything about his sexual relationship with his partner
yeah,
at the
yeah,
newspaper.
yeah, like because she, man,
She's so pure.
yeah,
Not pure, but like her intent is just you could tell that she's been beaten down to the point where self-preservation is all that she knows.
yeah,
Self-preservation and investigation. And
yeah,
that's just all she operates on.
yeah,
Like she's just a different breed of human. She's completely unlike any other character in the film.
yeah, and man, like you said, pure. I think the only time you see her pure is when she thinks she's happy with her man. Like
Right.
this weird like because she's not an innocent character by any means. Like she's taken drugs and she's slept around with other people throughout the film, and she's hurt people, but like that's not the point. Like the point is that like with him she feels, and she even acts more innocent. Like she acts more pure. She acts happy,
Right.
and to
And
have
she's not as we the word we keep coming back to is broody. She's not as
yeah,
broody with him.
yeah, just to have it ripped away at the buzzer at the very end.
It's a hard knock life, Ryan.
I know, but it doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're right.
Phenomenal film. Like I from beginning to end I was enthralled. This one is up there in my mind with some of the greats that Fincher's produced. I truly mean that. Like I think, man, I don't want to say, I'm not going to say this actually. I'll wait till week 4 when we've gone over Zodiac and 7. But
Rank all the films, but this one will be high on the list for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, like we're going to rank them once we've watched them, but yeah, this one's up there for sure.
I'm thinking a top three slot is in the cards for this one.
Oh yeah, but I would say it has to be. I mean, there
I
has
can
to.
already tell you my number one. My number one's gonna be the Social Network.
Yeah,
Shouldn't spoil it though. Sorry, but I think and I might change my mind. Something might come about this month completely changes my thoughts on that. But
yeah,
uh, that's a pretty safe bet.
yeah. No, and we'll see. But yeah, man, this one's gonna be hard to beat. Like it's not gonna be my number one, but it's going to be hard. Like to not have in my top 3. It is so good. And with that, I think if, unless barring any other like topics of discussion about this film, because there can literally be an infinite amount of them. I think it's time for ratings. It's time to rate this movie.
Let's do it.
I
I'm
say
gonna go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead.
so. I say we rate this movie out of 10 golf clubs.
Sure.
So out of 10 golf clubs, I'm giving it an 8. Like I'll give it an 8.5 actually. 8.5.
I give it a 9 golf clubs out of
9.
10.
Ooh, okay.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. Like I say 8.5. So we'll, I mean, trying to meet in the middle. Like 8.7, we'll say.
Right. Okay. 8.75.
Yes, 8.75. It is a phenomenal picture. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Despite our,
It's been out for a long time. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Your mom read the book. Your
Yeah.
mom read the book twice.
yeah,
You know.
like watch this movie. Like
Yeah.
I know we gave a pretty poor rendition of the plot, but it is so good. Like watch
Yeah.
this film.
Sorry guys, I'm having a bit of an off day, but I swear that I could talk about this movie under better circumstances for hours.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Oh yeah.
phenomenal. It's so rich. It's deep. It's hard to find enough
And
words.
we'll revisit it when comparing other Fincher films throughout the month, and surely at the end of the month we'll do a bit of a rundown recap of it.
Yeah.
So this is not the last you'll hear of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Facts. And if you like noir films, this is a great one.
It's a nice neo noir film.
Yep.
It's very it's very modern. It's
Very
very
modern
Swedish.
noir. Very modern noir.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Watch some David Fincher films. I'm sure everyone's seen a few. They're very popular films. They're some of the most popular. So, watch both of these films if you haven't yet.
Yes, please. Like you have to enrich your film palette. Do it.
And of course, drop a comment and say which film you liked better and why.
Yes, we love opinions. Please share your opinions. That's a talking point. If we get enough comments, we could start having another segment about comments. Top comment segment.
We both know that we would love that. So we want your opinions, so please give them.
Yes. And with that, we're going to awkwardly conclude week 4 of Beyond the Screen. Yay! We did it.
Yay!
Thank you guys once again for another great week of Beyond the Screen. Cole and I will see you again next week. Cole, any final remarks for our beautiful, beautiful viewers?
Win some money this week, guys. Any way you can. Play the lottery.
Sure.
I
I'll back it with an eyebrow raised. Because I guess that's your mission for the week. Beyond the Screen fans, play the lottery.
Buy a lottery ticket this week.
Why not?
Don't just spend $1 on it either. Spend like $5 or $10 on it. Like you might win something nice. Call your mom. Talk to her about these films. Like I said, she's read both books and seen both films. If she has anything to do with wine on her walls, like any sort of wine mural or a T-shirt perhaps that says like it's wine o'clock, she's seen Gone Girl, bro. I promise you.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
she's just the type, man.
No, you're right. You're right. And yeah, no, another great.
Well, with Mother's Day coming up next week, I mean,
yeah,
this might be our night. This might be our Mother's Day episode.
Hey, yeah. Happy Mother's Day. As we said before, be nice to your mom.
Or don't.
Just don't come back.
Yeah, just don't listen.
Yep.
If you were a match abuser. Well, we need to wrap it up. So
I know.
We're
I know. Let's
wrap it up.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
All right, goodbye, people. We'll see you later.
Goodbye. See you later, alligators.